Alright, so for the test review for number 1, we had a triangle. It said David is the groundskeeper at Triangle Park, shown below. David needs to cut the grass 4 times a month. How many square yards of grass will he cut altogether each month? So the important thing in this problem is that it says 4 times a month. And how much does he cut altogether each month? These problems, you have to really read the directions to make sure you know what you're doing. So first we need to find the area. So you know, for the triangles, you multiply the base and the height, which are the two sides that are perpendicular. This little sign right here means that these two sides are perpendicular, okay? So you go A equals 300 times 50. That equals 15,000. And then since it's a triangle, you have to divide by 2. So you get the area of the park, 7,500 yards squared, okay? And then for the second part of the problem, it says that he cuts the grass 4 times a month. So you take your 7,500 and you multiply it by 4, and you should end up with 30,000 yards squared. So David cuts 30,000 square yards each month. Alright, so that's number 1. Number 2 says during the winter the Triangle Park and adjacent square parking lot are flooded with water and allowed to freeze so that people can go ice skating. What is the area of the ice? So the ice, it says that Triangular Park and square parking lot are flooded with water and allowed to freeze. So the whole thing is ice, okay, not just the square. So we already know the area of this triangle is 7,500. So we need to look for the area of the square. Squares and rectangles are length times width, so you do 50 times 50, and you end up with 2,500. To find the area of the entire ice skating rink is 7,500 plus 2,500, so you end up getting 10,000 square yards. Alright, so that's number 2. Number 3, it says America is looking for a new computer table. Part B represents a sketch of the 2 computer tables she likes when looking at them from above. All measurements are in feet. If A says if America needs to choose the one with the greater area, which one should she choose? Okay, so you take a look. We have desk A and desk B. You just have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then we have the area of desk A is 6 times 4, which equals 24 feet squared. The area of desk B is 5 times 4, which equals 20 feet squared. Okay, so she should choose desk A. Part B wants you to count perimeter. So you take all your sides, so 6 plus 6 plus 4 plus 4, that's for desk A, would give you 6, 12, 16, 20 feet. For desk B, you would do 4 plus 4 plus 5 plus 5. You get 18 feet. So she should choose desk A. Alright, so for number 3, we would have says find the area of the triangular region. That's why it's important to read these directions. It only wants the area of this piece, not the whole thing. Okay? So, if we know, we know that the area of a triangle is base times height. We know the base is 5, and we need to look for this red line I'm making right here, the height. Okay? So, we know that from right here to right here, the length is 6. And we know from right here to right here, the length is 13. So we're just missing that red line right there. You would do 13 minus 6, and you'd get 7. Okay? So now to find the area of the triangle, you would just do 5 times 7 equals 35. Divided by 2, and you'd get 7.5. Or, I'm sorry, you would get 17.5. inches squared. So now moving on, last part of the test review, you would have, it says the grid below shows a bird's eye view of a middle school. So part A, I want you to find the coordinates of each point in the table. When looking at a coordinate grid like this, we know the 0 is right here in the middle. And when you go to the right, you'd have positive 1, 2, 3, 4. Over here to the left, you'd have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, so on. When you go up, you'd have 1, 2, 3. Going down, you'd have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, so on. Okay? So, for the coordinates for point A, we would do A is right here. It would be over 1, 2, 3, 4. Since to the left, it'd be over negative 4. And up 1, 2, 3, 4. So our coordinates for point A are negative 4, 4. So I'm going to go a little bit more quickly through the rest of them. B would be 6, 4. C would be 6, negative 6. D would be 4, negative 6. E would be 4, negative 2. F would be negative 1, negative 2. G would be negative 1, negative 7. And H would be negative 4, negative 7. So those are our coordinates for A through H. Now it's going to ask you for the length of a segment. Part B says each space in the grid stands for 10 meters. So we would take AB and you would just count boxes. You'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Multiply that by 10 because each space is 10 meters. So you'd have 100 meters for AB. BC, you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Multiply that by 10, you'd have 100 meters. Even if it's going downward, or even if it goes into the negative space down there, distance is never negative. It's always going to be positive. So you just count how many spaces there are and multiply it by 10 for this problem. CD covers 20 meters. DE covers 40 meters. EF covers 50 meters. FG covers 50 meters. GH covers 30 meters. And HA covers 110 meters. So that's part A and part B. Part C wants you to find the area. So what I did was break it up into 3 rectangles. I've got this black rectangle right here. I've got this red rectangle right here in the middle. And I've got this blue rectangle on the end right here. Okay? So first thing I want to do is find the area of the black rectangle. We know from our table, H to A is 110 meters. So I'm just going to label that. We know from our table that HG is 30 meters. So to find the area, we would do 110 times 30. And you would get 3,300. For the red rectangle, you know that from F to E, we have 50. And we know from here we can just count boxes. So we just go for the length. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So to find the area of the red rectangle, you would just do 50 times 60, which gives you 3,000. And then for the last piece, the blue rectangle, we know BC is 100, and we know DC is 20. So you would do 100 times 20 and get 2,000. And then just add all three of these up, and you end up with 8,300 meters squared for the area of the school. Okay, so that finishes up the test review. We'll have more work on it on Tuesday most likely, unless you guys are ready for the test. Alright.